All right, everyone, welcome to my very quick talk here at SLOconf on why you should probably only alert on SLOs. So, getting really started really quickly here. Who am I? My name is Robert Ross. I am the CEO and co-founder of FireHydrant. You might see me around the internet as Bobby Tables. That's a very common moniker of mine. And I'm super excited to be giving this talk about something I have become incredibly passionate about over the last couple of years. As a previous life as a site reliability engineer, I was on call for a number of years and started a tool to help myself. And now accidentally started something that a bunch of amazing companies are using. So really, really happy to be here. And thanks so much to the SLOconf organizers for having me. But without further ado, let's talk about alerting. And more specifically, being alerted. So just to get everyone on the same page here, when I say the word alert, I'm using the verb and stealing the definition from dictionary.com, saying warn someone of a danger, threat, or problem, typically with the intention of having it avoided or dealt with. Now, perfect definition for what we use it commonly in the software alerting on-call world. Now, let's go back to the summer of 2020, very interesting time in basically everyone's life. But I walked out of my apartment, opened my apartment door, and I live on the 6th floor of a walk-up in Greenwich Village, New York City. I now live in Brooklyn. This event actually had a good amount of reasoning for why I actually live in Brooklyn now. But in my apartment, I walked out and I smelled gas, really pungent gas. And just knowing that if you smell gas, you call the fire department, they come and they deal with it, and deal with it they did. Over 5, maybe even 6 fire department trucks arrived to my very tiny street in Greenwich Village, McDougal Street. And you can see the amount of firefighters. There was a ladder truck. They did not screw around when I said there was a fire or a gas leak. And they searched far and wide. They broke doors, they broke glass, they to isolate where was this glass or gas coming from. And thank God I did, right? Because who knows what would have happened if I didn't, if someone else didn't. You could have an explosion, you could have a really big fire. So I'm very glad that I did that, and they came and found it and just turned off the gas stove that someone had left on before they had left their apartment. So really silly thing. That could have ended in a disaster. Now, one thing that I keep going back to is, why did I know that I should call the fire department? What was it about that situation that in my head I was like, I smell gas, I have to call the fire department? And I thought that was actually a really interesting thing. We have these really good reactions kind of built into our brains, into our bodies, that when something feels off, we are being alerted to something, be it a signal from smell, from sound, from touch, whatever it might be. And this got me going on, we actually have human SLOs, and we act on them actually very frequently, more than you probably realize. So I have knee pain from time to time. I used to be an athlete. I did a lot of really knee intensive things because I was actually in the marching band. I did a lot of marching band, and marching band is really tough on your knees. I do stand by that it is a very athletic thing for anyone to endure. And yes, this is a photo of me. If you're wondering if that is a real photo of me, yes, it is. But back to my original point is that when our body is in pain, it's actually really good at telling us. Over millions of years, we have evolved to this really amazing state that if something is wrong, we are alerted to it. So now whenever my body is in pain from knee pain, from a fever, trying to fend off whatever is inside of my body by just heating up my body and making it, whatever it is, go away, our bodies are really good at responding to alerts. Whenever I feel my knee pain, I sit, I ice it, I take some Advil, whatever it might be. I'm able to respond to these very actionable alerts that my body is giving me. So as an on-call engineer that has responded to alerts of all kinds in my career, be it databases being dropped, be it emails not sending because the billing contact is no longer working at the company, you name it. I've seen a good amount of alerts in my career. I've woken up many times in the middle of the night. So it begs the question, why are so many companies, and you in the audience might be one of them, I would be shocked if someone in the audience wasn't this way. Why do we alert at 2 a.m. when a computer is wonky? Let's use the word wonky. It could be CPU is high, memory is low, disk capacity is filling up, whatever you want to call it. Let's just use the word wonky. Because from my perspective, if I'm getting up at 2 a.m. in the morning because some automation, some alert is going off and waking me up, it better be important and it better be actionable. Because I read the book Why We Sleep recently. Sleep is one of the most important things for my health I can possibly have. So if I'm waking up at 2 a.m., it better be important, it better be actionable. Which brings me to the core topic of why we are here. Why should we alert on SLOs? And Noble 9 has actually put together a really nice graphic. On the left side, we have our service level indicators, things that are coming out of tools like Thousand Eyes, Splunk, Datadog, Google BigQuery, a million bajillion other things. There's a lot of indicators or signals that then go into a tool such as Noble 9 to be converted into a objective. And Noble 9, amazing, major organizer of this conference, allows you to alert on those SLOs. Now the problem with this graphic is that it's actually missing something. It's missing something on the left side. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the only way that an SLI even manifests itself is from a user doing something. Yes, I know you might be in the audience saying, well, my process, there's cron jobs and they do things and yada, yada, yada. Let's just focus on when a user is actually interacting with our system. They're actually causing an indicator to go off in some way, shape, or form. That might be in the way of a successful checkout, an unsuccessful checkout. It could be a login. It could be some other action, a photo upload, whatever it might be. Those are the indicators coming out of our system. But those indicators only happen when there's a fleshy person on the other side doing something with our system. And that's what's missing from this graphic, is that the SLIs are great, but they don't just happen. Something has to happen before that SLI even happens. And which brings me to a big point that I would like to have in this talk, is that the people using our software are the only reason we should wake up at 2 a.m. There's no other reason we should wake up unless there's a person unable to use the software that we deliver to them. The people using our software are the only reason we have SLOs at all. There would be no reason at all to have SLOs if there wasn't some human being impacted, unable to use, having a poor experience, whatever you want to call it, of our software. So let's talk about what some of these less helpful alerts you may actually get out of your system. I've seen this in the form of SLOs. I've seen this in the form of just a crappily tuned alert, you name it. So let's look at a couple of these. So Shakespeare results are returning in 150 milliseconds. Now, I want you to imagine that it is 2 in the morning. That alone is scary. 2 in the morning, and you are being woken up, and you look at your phone, and there's an alert sitting there, and this is the alert you're reading. This doesn't make any sense. That doesn't mean anything to me. 150 milliseconds, the time it took me to say that sentence was 20 of those. So why does that matter? Let me give you another. Checkout API HTTP error rate is 90%. Okay. Which HTTP endpoint? That doesn't mean anything to me. That API is huge. It has a huge surface area. Why does this matter? It could be an error rate for something that maybe our an internal process is trying to use and just causing errors. Who knows? My personal favorite, and the amount of times I've been woken up by this error is infuriating, to say the least. CPU is at 98%. All right. So now let's look at what maybe, keep in mind, it depends, say the line. Let's convert these into something that is maybe a little bit better. Shakespeare results are loading slowly for users. Now, if it's at 2 a.m., that 150 milliseconds is going to change. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, it might stay over a threshold. The reality is the only reason I am receiving this alert at 2 a.m. is we know that that is slow and our users are going to feel the difference, and we need to wake somebody up because our users are going to feel that problem. The number 150 milliseconds is pointless. From the context of me receiving an alert, I don't care. Included in the details of the alert, sure. But when I crack open my laptop, I'll find that number pretty quickly. It doesn't need to be the name of the alert. We need to start attaching the customer pain to the names of these alerts and the text that we're receiving. Give you another one here. Customers are unable to check out. I'll tell you what, if something is erroring at a 90% rate, shit, even 10%, there's really going to be no difference between someone saying customers can check out between 10 and 100. Customer success is going to say, hey, customers are unable to check out right now, no matter what at that point. So the point that I'm trying to get to here is your alerts should have almost nothing to do with what the computers are doing and everything to do with what the users are feeling. Now, CPU is at 98%. There's no alternative here. Don't alert on this. This makes no sense. Only alert on CPU if you know for a fact that it means that a customer is experiencing problem in other ways. Because me personally, I've been at plenty of companies where 98% was no incident at all. Customers had no idea we were at 98%. And honestly, at that point, that deserves an award. You are using your CPU incredibly efficiently and customers don't know. Props. So I am more empathetic if I receive an alert and I instantly know that there's a customer somewhere in the world that is experiencing pain. The computers are gonna, like, how many times have you run a script on your computer and your fan, you can literally hear your fan turn on. You don't feel bad for that computer. So why are we alerting on when the computers are feeling pain? Sand doesn't have feelings. We don't need to alert on when sand is hot. Because people matter more than the computers. The computers are why the people are using us, or people are using the computers, not the other way around. So I'll finish off here with this short talk with the word service and SLO isn't your microservice. We're not talking about the application running on a cluster or some random server somewhere, some Kubernetes cluster. We're not talking about that service. We're talking about the quality that the application is providing. That's what the S and SLO stands for. How good is the service? The word service in dictionary.com has over 30 definitions. So we mustn't forget that we're not talking about the computers. We're talking about what the customer is feeling. So next time you're creating an alert, next time you're setting up some system to receive some signal and wake somebody up at any hour of the day when that signal goes off, remember that there's people on both ends. So only alert when that service does not meet expectations. It could be yours, it could be the customer's, but only alert when those expectations are not being met, not when the computer is doing what computers do. Now with that, I say thanks. Thanks so much for joining this amazing conference, amazing organizers. If you want to give me a follow on Twitter, I'm at Bobby Tables. If you want to check out FireHydrant, look at us for incident management, service catalog, incident communication, and all things in between, firehydrant.com. And thanks so much. Have a great rest of the conference.